Welcome to I Have Questions with Michael Ruland. Have you ever asked a question? Have you ever been in a classroom, been curious, or ever wanted to teach and learn? Then you're in the right place, because I have questions. Hi, I'm Mike Ruland. I've been a business owner, a soldier, an educator, a husband, a father. I am full of ADHD and am experiencing the negative effects of long COVID. But I've spent the last 2 decades working in the public school system as a teacher, coach, mentor, and administrator. I'm very passionate about being curious, about being educated, and most importantly, about having questions. Join me on my journey as I share stories, talk to some fun and inspiring people, gain insights to being a better teacher, a better student, and maybe even a better human. I hope you're ready because I have questions. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad you're here. Actually, I'm kind of glad I'm here as well. Hey, shout out to all of you for taking some time out of your life to spend with me. I am eternally grateful. I really am. You know, in today's world where our precious time is always short, I just want to touch on a topic that is actually super important to me, and that is using our time to gain a better understanding of people we meet, people we work with, and people we know. As I've thought about this, I find myself wondering sometimes if I actually have a deep understanding, of those closest to me, or if I just have a comfort level with them and then leave it at that. Well, today I'm going to talk with a guest that knows what it is to gain a deeper understanding of people, specifically our students, and he knows what it can do for us and them. He and his brothers are some of my favorites, and I can't wait for you to meet him. So, are you ready? I'm ready. So let's go, because I have questions. Well, I guess I can be called a people person, maybe. I like talking. I like telling stories. I like talking to people. But as I've aged, more like a bad blue cheese than a fine wine, but still aged anyway. I really started trying to talk to people to get a deeper understanding of who they really are. It's one thing to ask people questions, as we know, which I do think I am good at, but it's quite another thing to ask people questions that matter and are pointed and get to the heart of who that person really is. I know as a teacher, I found myself really trying to walk that line of making that educational leadership and not teetering over that line. But I know I did teeter over that line because, to this day, I have past students that I have just the strongest relationships with after 15 and 20 years. I really don't know what made those happen. I do think we never really intended for it, or maybe even knew we were getting to know each other on that deeper level. But I'm glad it happened, and I know for a fact some of them are too. Some of them might not be, but they'll get over it. Um, so I just think it's something all of us have to decide in our hearts where we are in that. Do we feel comfortable getting to know people on a much more personal, deeper level? And so I want to talk about that today. And I've invited a dude who just lives that and has showed me how to get better at it. So let's do this. All right, people, let's get going here. So my guest today, someone who I have watched work hard over his entire career and life to know people on a really deeper level. I'm always blown away by his connections to his community and the vast number of people that he knows so well and deeply. And he's in the background dinging his computer. We met, I don't even remember, like 10 or 12 years ago, but for some reason we instantly connected. He's currently working at Tolt Middle School in Carnation, Washington, the place where he actually went to middle school and a little bit of high school. And he went on to earn a degree, play football in college. Yep, he got that big muffin head in a helmet. He has worked for multiple schools and multiple roles, but each and every role, he has shown his commitment to students and their needs. I am so proud to introduce you to my amigo, or mi amigo, or my friend, one of those guys, Billy Ojeda. Senor, ¿cómo estás? How are you?
Hola, hello, Mr. Ruin.
Not calling me Mr. Ruland.
Being appropriate.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. How's it going, buddy?
Good, well, good.
Good.
Hanging in there.
Hanging in there. School year's keeping you out of trouble?
No, I wish it was, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's pretty busy, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Life is
Days
good.
go quicker that way.
Yes.
All right. So, Billy, are you ready? Good, because I have questions. All right. So, the entire time I have known Billy, he has done everything possible to get to know everyone he meets at a deeper level. I've always been amazed by this and really have started to wish I could emulate it. You know, as I talked about earlier, I, I really like people and I like to get to know them, but I don't think I get to know them as deep as I can. Because of that, I, and maybe all of us, can live vicariously through Billy and get going with it. So, Billy, you've always been on that different level of getting to know people. Can you tell us kind of where that comes from in your world? Were you born this way? Did you make a concerted effort? Um, uh, what?
Well, I got the gift of gab from my dad. My dad could talk to anyone at any place at any time, and I got his gift of gab. His biggest influence on me and my brothers was to always honor those who you meet, because you never know, later in life, a la R, you know, you'll you'll become good friends. And so he always put that on us. To I say us because I have three brothers who were all very similar but different, but we all love people. We always talk to people, and a lot of it was, like I said, I could say 99% of it was from my dad, who said, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't put yourself to know people. And to me, I don't know. I've always to me, I always tried to find the positives of every person, regardless. Because not everybody that I've met has been great to me or been. I've been living in Duval since I think we moved here in 79, 78. So it wasn't the most diverse and pleasant place back in the day. But to me, regardless of what happened to me, I always try to look at the positive. And honestly, it's helped friendships that I've grown to have. I mean, I had one person that I met a long time ago who used to make fun of me because of my race and because of my size, and every day I'd just be like, all right, whatever. I'd just be like, I just smile at him and walk away, and I did it all the time. And he finally came up to me and goes, "How come you don't ever have gotten mad at me, or how come you've never punched me?" I was like, "Because I know it's not just you; it's your home." And he was like, "Wow!" And it totally changed him. Actually became one of my good friends, and he was very grateful that I never attacked him or I never got mad at him. But he could not understand why I never why I always kept talking to him. And to me, I always try to find the good of everybody. And sometimes it takes time, sometimes it doesn't. But I think making relationships is what it's important in life, because I don't know. To me, that's my wealth. I'm never going to be super wealthy, but to me, I feel wealthy knowing everybody and knowing people. It's fun and very enjoyable.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, getting to know you. I mean, look at you. I mean, you and I. I mean, who would have thought you and I would become good friends? I mean,
I
when I
did.
first when I first met you, you were screaming at kids, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be working with this guy. But little did I know, it was like the kids was just like, okay, Mr. Ruin, okay, and we got to know each other, and look at us now. We're making a podcast, so it's really cool.
So, for those of you listening, I rarely screamed at children, sort of, more or less. um,
But
all
you
right,
do it in
maybe
a
a little.
positive way. That's the thing.
Yes,
You don't just yell at kids to yell at kids. You yell at them because you love them, and that's how we both are. You yell at kids because you love them. You don't yell at them because you don't like them. You yell at them because you love them and you want them to do better, and
yeah,
you hold them to that high standard.
oh,
And I think that's why you've made such a big impact on everybody. You believe in every kid. I mean, you got kids that to this day still talk about you. I just got to give you that props, and so
silly boy.
it's good to see
Yeah,
though, because it just goes to show you that what we do every day with our kids, it pays off.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
I
I guess
guess, can
can
you?
you?
I know
I
you
know you
can
can
because
because
you
you
have
have
hundreds of
hundreds of
stories
stories.
that you've shared with me over the years. Can you share with us a moment or a couple moments that's changed your life as an educator or a learner because you've spent time really getting to know somebody on a deeper level?
Oh yeah, I have kids to this day that come up to me and hug me, and unfortunately, as I get older, my mind goes and I can't remember. So I always like, amigo, amigo, or amiga. And
Yeah,
they come up to me and they say, Mr. Hare, thank you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be a, successful painter, have my own business, work for Boeing. And, it's just cool to see that, what I did to them back in the day, that some I was really hard on, really, really hard. To this day, sometimes I feel bad, but at the same time, I never gave up on them, no matter what they did. People would kick them out of class, or they would suspend them, or they would just write them off. But I never did. I thought, no way, I'm never going to give up on this kid, because I had special teachers growing up that didn't give up on me, and so I knew I can't give up on them. And holy cow, it's so awesome to see kids come up to you, or young adults now, young people come up and give you a hug and say thank you. I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for you and what you installed in me. And it's really cool and heartwarming to, like, to hear that and say, okay, everything I'm doing, I guess it's right. But
yeah,
but still, I learn every day. I learn every day from kids. Every single day to this day, I learn something new from kids, which is awesome. My biggest, my biggest, just never giving up on anybody, regardless of what happens or what they do to me. At the end of the day, they're a kid, right? And so they're learning, and to me, if they could be, I mean, I had a kid yesterday who was a complete jerk to me, and I just said, all right, we'll see you tomorrow, new day. And today they were apologetic and said, I'm sorry, can we talk? I'm like, yeah, of course. It's a new day. And so I always, like I said, the biggest thing is I've never given up on a kid. To this day, I still have never given up on a kid, and I never will, because you never know. Everybody's going through something. I believe that, everybody's going through something at a certain time. And so, that could be the day where, that kid's doing this or that, and parents could, I mean, I got kids going through divorces now, which unfortunately has been the common theme. And I have kids who are going through, whose parents are picked up by ICE. I have families who are losing their roofs over their head. And there's so much going on that, we as educators always have to make sure that, they're doing fine. But at the same time, we got to make sure our staff is doing fine. I mean, we staff members I've spoken to whose parent just died, or who's, they're going through marital troubles, or they have a kid that is going through severe depression or anxiety, and, they're fighting their own little battles, and it's kind of affecting them at work. So I think, we just always also got to remember that besides our kids, we also got to take care of one another, because I think that's important. But like I said, the best stories, sorry, I'm rambling on all over the place, but to me, the best stories are the ones where you have kids come back, or young adults come back and say, oh my God, thank you. You changed my life. I mean, that's the best feeling in the world. There's nothing like it, to have a, young person say that they're raising their kids the way I taught them. And so
yeah.
that's just, I mean, what can you say? It's just wow,
Yeah. Good on you. So, as I guess you've kind of touched on this, but how often do you really see yourself in these kids? And is that a driver
Oh
in what
yeah,
you do?
every day,
Yeah.
every day. I mean, we grew up. My dad made when we were growing up. My dad made $13,000 a year forever, and we were six of us, and we were poor. We were pretty much homeless, and he had no idea. He had no idea because my family was so close knit. My mom and dad worked wonders, but we had no idea. But we're wearing the same clothes over and over and over again. We're eating the same stuff over and over and over again. And it was just because we just couldn't afford like everybody else. And so and we have kids like that as well who same are wearing the same clothes, who are eating the same food, who are just, and going through the same problems that I did when I was, luckily our community is a lot more diverse than it was back in the 70s and 80s, but there's still unfortunately big pockets of racism that still happens. It's just more hidden than it was back then. Back then it was like up in your face, but now I feel like it's more hidden, unfortunately. But you know, I don't know. I see myself in a lot of these kids, even when the ones that get in trouble, and like I was there, I probably pushed somebody down. I probably did this, did that. So it was just you know
Yeah.
it it was just something that every time I talk to a kid, I kind of chuckle because it's like, yeah, I did that. And
Yeah.
so I can't get too mad at them. And when I call home, I always tell their parents, I was like, I'm not too mad at them because I've done it before, but we got to learn from it going forward. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that you and I have talked about that. We've had kids in our office together, and when they leave, we look at each other and we're both like, yeah, we did exactly that. So
Oh,
awesome. So I guess, I when I introduced you, we've spent this whole time talking about kids, but I also marvel at something that you do specifically, which is your community. You all this time we've talked about how you've worked so hard to get deeper into knowing kids, but you do the same thing with community. Why is that?
well, a lot of the reason is because my dad, like, once again, I go back to my dad. He helped in our community as a Duval. He was one of the first Latino families in the valley, and we used to go to church, and he was the Latino organizer of all the families that spoke Spanish, and so he was always helping families
Mhm.
regardless of what, even if they spoke Spanish or not. He was always supporting and helping and getting to know them, and it was tremendous because whenever something happened or whenever something an incident, good or bad, my dad was able to people would respect him and listen, and because he was like, all right, he was there. And until this day, I still have people that I have no idea who they are go, hey, you're great because your dad helped me one time when my car was on the side of the road, or your dad gave me money one time when we were needing it. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that's like 30, 40 years ago. They still remember. And so I try to do the same with our community. I mean, if I can help them succeed or be successful, then it goes a long way with their children. I mean, I have a friend who I started working in the district last year. He was looking for a job, and I was like, "Hey, we got work here." He goes, "Really? I don't speak very good English." I'm like, "Who cares?
Yeah.
You'll learn English. We'll learn Spanish. That's how it's going to happen." And I put him in there, and holy cow, he's taken off. He's one of our best worker maintenance people here. He has so many, he's great. And now we have his children here, and anytime there's a problem, I just call him and bam, they're there to support. And I think that's important because, a lot of the times our kids, you want to make sure, they say it takes a village. It literally takes a village. And so I think it's important to reach out to the families to make sure, you know, that they're aware, and at the same time, like I was telling you earlier, you don't know what some families are going through. I've found families places to live. You would never think that would happen out here
Yep.
in the affluent Duval Carnation area, in Redmond, but there are families who are still looking for places to live, and so it's just, you got to make sure you take care of that, and you take care of all that home life, and then everything else falls into place. And anytime, I don't know, I thoroughly enjoy helping the community. It's just because I was part of it, and I remember how much people helped us, and so I just kind of be paid a favor, and I say, you don't ever have to pay me back, just pay it forward, literally. And
Yeah.
I've seen that happen as well, where people are like, Mr. Ada helped me, so I'm going to help you. And to me, it's really cool to see.
Yeah. It's uh, it's beyond cool to watch. I'll be honest with you there, brother. So, all right. So, believe it or not, we're almost at the end, and this is the part where I just say your turn. What have I missed? What do you want to ask, or your show right now?
Um, I mean, first of all, thank you for letting me speak. I'm not gonna lie, I was a former ELL. I was in speech. I was in level 0 classes. I was special ed. I was everything you could put in, and look where I am now. And it's like, it's pretty amazing that I've gotten this far, but I didn't do it alone. Obviously, I had awesome teachers and supporters, and so it's just, I just want to make sure that if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's, it's been a long road. It's still somewhat upwards sometimes. Sometimes I feel like, yeah, yeah, and then, stuff happens. But at the same time, I'm very grateful for where I am. And so it's just, I've had a lot of good people help me, even with ours helped me tremendously. And, many, many people have helped me. So I just want to say that, it's as a person that myself, who was a former ELL student, speech, special ed can make it. Anybody can. And so it's just, I'm very happy. And any way I can help the community and help our students. And I tell them all the time, I go, I was in speech. I was going there 3 or 4 times a day, or a week, probably a day for me, but my mom still thinks I have to go to speech. So, but I mean, it's like, I just want to tell everybody that, it's like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And, this is coming from an immigrant who, my dad came to this country with just literally the t-shirt on his back and put 4 boys through college. I mean, it, I marvel at my parents. They've done a lot, and they've gone through a lot. And if it wasn't for my dad, there wouldn't be any Ojedas, well, our Ojedas in Washington. And so it's just, that's one thing I do want to say, that, if it wasn't for my dad taking that giant leap and coming to Washington when everybody else was going to the big cities like California or Chicago and Texas, all those big cities with a lot of Latinos. My dad said, "Nope, I'm going to go where there's none." I couldn't believe he did, but I'm very grateful, and we all live here. We all live close by, and we're very family oriented, but at the same time, we're willing to help anyone.
Yep. Well, I can vote yes on the Ojeda family. What do you have? You have lawyer, two teachers, medical.
Two teachers, and then somebody works as a manager for a hospital.
Yeah. So your family, you and your brothers have kicked butt. Um, I happen to like your kids and your nieces and nephews better than you and your brothers, because you guys are mean to me.
No, we just make sure you're not thirsty.
Yes, you do. Your mom is at least nice to me.
Yeah,
Um,
we just want to
so
make sure you're not thirsty. That's all.
yeah, yeah, you cover that. So William Ojeda, you know this. I love everything about you, what you do, how you do it. Um, and I'm quite frankly, so glad we've had the chance to work together a couple times in education.
Yeah, and I'm not
It
gonna lie to you. I was looking forward to working with you for many years, but
and then I bailed.
I understand. I
Yeah.
understand, but you're part of the reason why actually came back. I'm not gonna lie to you, and it's gonna sound corny, but you're part of the reason why I came back to Riverview.
Yeah.
I'll be
Well,
honest.
thank
If
you.
I knew you weren't gonna last, I don't know if I would. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if I would have came back.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I get at least semi healthy again and can go back to working for a living instead of nothing. So, um, so thanks, brother. I appreciate you joining me on this crazy little adventure of mine. And hopefully you and I can get together, have a little water, and talk about life. How's that?
A lot of
So,
water and a lot of tacos.
a lot of water, a lot of tacos. Exactly. Thank you, Billy. So, I know it's such a fine line in education when it comes to getting to know our students and our peers. And quite frankly, in the business world, because you have to put yourself out there and you have to be vulnerable as a human to get to know people on a deeper level. But as I think Billy just shared, those are the levels that absolutely make a difference in people's lives. The world is just so much better with more Billy Ojedas. I'm so glad that we get to have this time to talk about these things and whether they're easy or hard for you, right or wrong. Quite frankly, maybe it's not for all of us, but it's important to know that we can change one person's day and that butterfly effect takes place and it can change their life. So it's important that we know that we can make a difference by digging a little deeper. Billy Ojeda, you're the man. I appreciate you. And I will see you on the flip side. All right, I thought I better jump in here, and I need to apologize to all of you for the audio on our interview. Billy and I tried everything. Apparently, we bought the discount soup cans and string for our connection there. We should have bought Campbell's soup cans and much better string to make that audio there. So I tried everything under the sun that I knew with my program to make this work, but since this is a shoestring operation, I basically know zero. I make it up as I go. You know that. So please forgive us. But I think even with the crappy audio, you got the gist of the fact that Billy is the man, and hopefully you'll forgive me, and I will do better next time. Maybe, hopefully. All right, we'll keep going. Hey, hey, hey! All right, time for my weekly long COVID update. I hope you're not too bored of these yet. I kind of am, but I live it every day, right? So this week, I just want to touch very quickly on doctor's appointments. You know, ever since I caught COVID and have been diagnosed with long COVID and now some other chronic illness diagnosis that aren't long COVID. I'm not sure how that happened, but it has. I won't lie, I am completely running out of patience with these medical appointments. I have had hundreds, over 200 medical appointments combined and continue to go to them. It's exhausting, and quite frankly, it's one of the hardest parts of this whole thing. I know Sarah is tired of them. She has to drive me to all of them. So sorry, hun. Thank you. Uh, anyway, one of the hard parts of those doctor's appointments with what's going on right now is there really isn't any answers. I have great doctors, like amazing. A couple are at the top of their specialty, even. In fact, you know, one of them is literally one of the best ones in the country, and I get to go to him, and They are all doing their best, and they just really don't know. And there's just a lot of symptom chasing. At least that's what I call it. I don't know if they do. I call it symptom chasing, and it gets frustrating. And this is not just me. This is, all chronic illness patients. They just get tired of it. And, one of the things I want to share with you is I guarantee you anybody with a chronic illness is just looking for someone's ear. They don't want to be told all the old farmers' wives cures for everything. They've heard it all. So just whenever you run into somebody, just remember they've probably recently been to a doctor and didn't get much out of it. So they're just tired. They're tired of being told things. I'm tired. Although I'm tired all the time. Anyway, yeah, I think behind the curtain, there's a lot of doctor's appointments. That's probably enough said. Multiple a week. So there's that. Boring, but it's what it is. Thanks. All right. From the new teacher email line. Hey, this one is from, who's it from? Oh, sorry. I should have known this before I started this. Sorry. This one's from Shannon P. Shannon asks, how do I establish my classroom management? Great question, Shannon. This is a huge topic. And probably for everybody that answers this question, there's a specific answer. Everybody's different. And every teacher that's different takes different actions. And every action taken can be actually different in every classroom. It's just a horrendous little circle. But first thing I will say to you is talk with your mentor teacher. Hopefully you've got a mentor teacher. If you don't, go find one. Talk with other new teachers as well. Talk with your principal. But my first little bit of advice is to set firm and concrete expectations. Make them simple. Don't change them. Make them readily available. Put them up on the board. Put them on a poster. Put them on the wall. And you might find that there's the different one for every class. In fact, probably will be. And then get them involved in your classroom management expectations. The kids want to do good, all right? They just want it to be out there. They want to know what those expectations are. So the final part of that is then be very, very consistent in your enforcement. The last thing you want is for those kids to think you one day are on it and next day you're not. So consistency, consistency, consistency. If you do that, eventually you'll get there. Good luck, Shannon. Remember, ask questions to those around you. All right. Stay out of trouble and good luck with the rest of the year. Keep in touch. Oh. All right. We're almost there. You're almost done listening to my gravelly little long COVID voice. All right. Please touch base. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, helpful hints to make this thing better so I don't bore you, let me know. I have questions 2025 at gmail.com. That is, I have questions 2025 at gmail.com. Let me know. Keep in touch. I love to talk to people when they email me. All right. Have a great week. See you next week. Oh, wait. P.S. So, P.S. I've been reading this book, and it's called What Makes You Not a Buddhist. It's super interesting, has some really good lessons in it, but it uses big words, and, it's kind of a tough read. But I'm currently on a section about different definitions of happiness and the importance of understanding that every single one of us actually has a different definition of happiness. I guess I kind of knew that, but when you really put it in perspective, I don't know if we really think about it. So I decided to do a little research on happiness and found that the happiest place on earth is, in fact, not Disney World. Who knew? It's actually Finland. Those darn Finns. Well, the Finns probably knew. Anyway, one of the key factors to Finland being designated as the happiest place on earth is that they have a very close connection to nature and a strong social support system. Turns out Finland was the first European country to allow women to vote. That was in 1906, the year one of my grandmas, was born. And if you travel to Finland and lose your wallet, do not fear. Did you know that 11 out of 12 lost wallets are returned to their owners in Finland? So you're safe. And hun, maybe I lost my wallet 25 years ago in Finland. So let's go there and see. All right, everybody. Peace, love, R. This has been a production of SMEB LC Enterprises. Please give us a thumbs up, share us with others, and come back next week for another leg of our journey. Thank you for spending some of your valuable time and energy with us today. This is also a great time to reach out to someone in your life and just ask them, how are you doing? Don't wait until next week. And remember, it is always powerful to say, I have questions.